And as we return, we remind everybody of the bracket of the players taking part in this wonderful Bullet Chess Championship presented by SIG. You see that we're in the match on the bottom left. Vladislav Artemyev takes on Raunak Sedwani. We already saw Arjun Erigaisi beat Levan Aronian. So it's the Super GMs taking on the Indian teenagers in the opening round. Aman, even after this, even after the second half of this match, we'll still have two great matches ahead.
Yeah, and that's the most exciting part of today, the wild card days. We get to see these players who have qualified from the matches that we commentated last week, and we get to see them facing off against one another, ultimately for a spot in the semis and finals of this tournament.
Indeed, where the opposition only gets tougher. We have four players waiting in the next round. It's Hikaru Nakamura, Alireza Firouzja, Andrew Tang, and Danya Naroditsky. It's the bullet specialist, the who's who, the upper echelon of the bullet sphere. So we're excited for that, but I'm just excited for the next half of this match to go because it's 4.5, 3.5 in Artemyev's favor. A 1-point lead, the minimal margin you need to win the match, but Raunak Sedwani is not going to be deterred, and here he goes with the black pieces.
Yeah, and this matchup, a little bit of a shift here. Bishop on g5 instead of the bishop f4 that we have been seeing, and c4 immediately saying, look, queen b6, you want to take my pawn? I don't care, go for it. This is bullet chess.
And I think it's a good decision by Artemyev to switch it up. You don't want to get your opponent in a comfort zone. Now it's just a new position. Look at the double pawns, the king on e8. Not going to be a truly safe king for black.
Yeah, and rook g8. Well, if you thought he might be castling kingside, not happening. Rook g8. He might go queenside castling, and bishop h3 already thrown out. Some pressure on the kingside early.
And look at that, just king h1 getting out of the pin, bishop f3, giving up the h2 pawn, and he takes it because if it's g3, you're taking on g3, ripping that king open.
And that's a decision. I mean, obviously he's going to take it. Both of these guys are happy to be in this position right now. I'm not sure which side I prefer.
I feel like I prefer white because I don't see the checkmate, but then again, I'm going to regret that as soon as I say it.
And it's also about the time. So if you can keep the time level, that's all you need with the white pieces. As black, sometimes you don't need your attack to work. You just need to be up on time.
And look at this. The defense turned into offense at the snap of your fingers because that king on b8 is no safer than the king on g1. The king on g1 actually has a bunch of pieces defending it. But where is the mate? You would love to just remove the d5 pawn. Not so easy. In fact, d4 was captured.
Right. And I'm not actually sure where the mate is. Oh, allowing rook e7 seems bad, but there was king d6.
Queen takes d8 next, though. Pre-move that. That's a free rook. Okay,
right.
So knight f3. It's still not over. It's an exchange now. It went from a piece to an exchange. Or sorry, wait, what? It went. I'm losing track of the pieces. It was a piece that it went.
It was a piece and then a free rook. So now it's anyway. We're here now. We got these 3 pawns on the king side. And a3 super important. As white, you got to protect the heck out of your remaining pawns. You're going to need them to win this game.
Oh, well, that's what seemed to be the wrong move order because now he's just going to try to kick the king out slowly, shuffle back and forth. How did he see that so far in advance?
Yeah, it's really impressive here.
Oh, don't push that pawn so much. It's going to be a draw.
I think this will be a draw.
Yeah,
only black could win this game, but obviously Artemyev is way too quick getting over there.
Yeah, Artemyev started pushing his a-pawn away from his own king. He needed to have the king's support, and he would have been in a winning position. But instead, we see a draw. Good hold by Raunak there. And Definitely. Now it remains a 1-point match. Artemyev takes the black pieces, and it's a calm opening from white. No central tension just yet. E4 is what I expect.
Yeah, we need to see e4 from white. Otherwise, black might think about e5 and e4 himself winning a piece.
And we see some trades here. Isolated pawn for black. I tend to feel like it's easier to play against the isolated pawn in bullet, but there's too much activity for black right now. The pin on the knight on f3. Oh.
And I was about to say c3. If you take this knight, all of a sudden, yeah, knight e6 is a great response there, keeping the bishop under attack. Bishop takes h6.
Hanging pieces, lesson number 1. When you could take your opponent's piece, but yours hanging, maybe you could take something else in between, and there goes the h-pawn.
Yeah, a nice desperado tactic there. And basically, he just got a normal position up a piece. He's even got the bishop pair to boot. There's bishop takes e4 or knight takes e4 that both seem to work here.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. Normal position, but the h-pawn was gone, and now it's 2 extra pawns, 2 bishops for white. Yeah. Artemyev's in trouble, but he should try to play this out. There's the f2 pawn. Maybe you'll lose sight of that. Rook to d8 comes, and maybe there's some tactics that black has available to him.
100%. And position like this, though, if you're Raunak, you gotta chalk this up to a game that you need to convert. If you want a chance in this match, positions like this, you can't go without grabbing a full point.
And speaking of grabbing, he just took that pawn on b7. I wasn't even looking in that direction. I was like, oh, how do I get my rook out? He said, no, that's pawn. Make it number 3. And black has no attack. The f2 g3 is very stable, and he's going to try Artemiev, but he's also down on time.
He is. And h5, g5 is going to be the answer. King h7 probably. Tricky move and bullet, but really nicely answered by Raunak.
And the only threat was queen h2, which was actually mate. So he plays rook to h1, which is also good for the attack. And don't blunder f2, and you win this game for white.
Rook e7, such a quick move, dealing with queen g6 so effortlessly.
And actually, I think bishop takes f2 was an idea there when the queen was all the way on the queen side, but it doesn't matter. Raunak too fast, way ahead in the clock, and now just winning the game.
Yeah, that was a really, really good game, and he needs that to bounce back in this match. And are we tied up 5-all?
We're tied 5 points apiece, and right now back to the b3. You know, everyone's favorite Nimzo Larson opening and d4. Got to play that and just try to open up the center. Watch out for knight f3 check.
Knight c3 here probably.
Yes.
And you just follow up with eventual h3, f4, queen d2, and he's going to be long castling, so this should be a very fun match.
And knight e4 doesn't threaten anything, but he's trying to get to the f6 square, so maybe it threatens more than I gave it credit for. Because if the knight moves, knight f6 check. Oh, gosh. Oh, he takes it. I thought for sure he was going to get the bishop on f6 and just go for that kind of attack. Instead, he allows the king to find some safety.
Queen's heading over to a5. There it is. And offering the queen exchange that pretty much has to be taken if you're in white's position. Not sure who I prefer.
Rook h7. Rook h7. Rook h7 check. Rook h7.
That's a nice move.
Oh, he's baiting him into it.
Yeah, that was a good one. Good spot.
The thing was, I was looking for soft points in black's defense, and the f6 square, I was like, oh, maybe I can get that. And yeah, rook h7 is coming now without giving up a rook. And that looks scary.
He's had enough of that fancy stuff, Robert. He says, look, let me protect the rook and throw it in there.
But now black is losing at least a piece, because after knight e6 blocking, you just take the knight and the rook in some order, and now you lose a full rook.
Yeah, there's knight c3. Actually, there isn't. It's checkmate in 1. So
yeah,
can't even try that.
Knight can't move its mate. Raunak throws in the towel in that game. And Artemiev, look at him. Stone cold. He hasn't not emoted a single time.
Yeah, that's the thing about Artemiev and the thing about good bullet players, I think.
Did you see that, though? I don't know why, but all of a sudden he kind of grimaced, so it's the opening.
Must be.
Did he miss some kind of queen a5 check or something? Like, he really was not happy with what happened.
Queen a5, bishop b4 maybe could have been thrown in there, but I don't think it was anything too bad.
Yeah, but that's that super GM mentality where you make even the slightest mistake and you're upset about it. But now he's up in exchange, and Raunak, I don't think has enough compensation. In fact, doesn't really have any compensation at all.
No, this is really tough because this is going to take some time off the clock and could still result in a loss. But obviously, you do play this one on.
Oh, well, I was going to ask you, at what point do you start just resigning? Because you're down 1 point, you're likely about to be down 2 if you are unable to save this game. Which, wait a second, rook d1.
He's playing it like this is all intentional.
Yeah,
rook b1 is a big move next.
Rook b1 looks great, and a queen a7, hitting g1 and a2.
Ooh, queen a7 would be nice.
So
I'm not convinced by this at all.
No, not even the slightest. Okay,
queen f1 mate.
Queen f1
mate. Oh, right when he basically got out of the woods there, I was going to say, because he had the 3 connected pass pawns over there. Sure, they're not mobile, but at the same time, I didn't see how black was executing a checkmate other than just threatening mate in 1.
Did you see Raunak kind of his hand gesture there? Like he's like, oh, whatever, it's a throwaway. I think he kind of had resigned as soon as he lost the exchange. And that happens to us in chess, where even when we get chances and we're playing well, we're so focused on that memory of how could I just lose that piece like that? So unfortunately for him, he was not able to rebound, but the e3 pawn is now his. So black is up a pawn, and that's good news for Raunak. He needs to win his games.
Yeah, and we saw Artemiev do something there that is really important in bullet. He played f3, knowingly giving up that e3 pawn. He didn't want to deal with an attack from Raunak. He says, hey, I'll beat down a pawn just to have places for my pieces to go and make easier, quicker moves.
And it's justified, yet he is down a pawn. He is worse in this position, but look at this, h4. And black is the one with the less safe king right now. Maybe you can play on both sides. All right, so how to make progress for either side? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is white going to play b5 at some point to kick the knight? Well, the knight goes to e7 and back around to the king side, does it without b5.
Right. And queen back to g4. Knight d5 coming up soon.
Okay, goes to g6. I like your knight d5 move, though.
Yeah, is g5 just hanging here?
Yeah.
This is getting worse.
Wait, knight's pinned. Rook's under attack.
Oh,
knight 6 check.
Oh, what a nice move.
The knight fork.
And that wasn't to win material. That was to save material because it looked like he was about to lose something there.
Uh-oh.
Grab
A7
A7.
Yes, it's not the Fischer bishop. That bishop goes around and... All right.
Yeah,
So
this is just bishop b6 winning.
Wrong pawn. A pawn's the wrong square. So if for black you can somehow trade off some pieces, especially the kingside pawns, you have a better chance, but you're losing f4 directly, it seems.
Mm-hmm. King d5. Just look at the knight's getting dominated by his bishop.
So if you trade one pawn and then take the you take the B and C pawns off, you're gonna make a draw.
Mm-hmm. He still has hope here.
You don't have
E5,
enough time.
A5. He's getting rid of the A pawn. He's too smart.
Bravo. That's really classy stuff there. And just don't go C6.
Yeah, he knows better. Really nicely done. That was a gorgeous endgame.
It was, and that looks like it is probably the match. Actually, I shouldn't say that because as long as you start the third game.
Start the game, yeah.
So there is enough time, but Raonic needs to win this game. I take it
100%.
back. It's not over yet, but he absolutely must win the game, and he's going for this Magnus Carlsen type of fianchetto on the queen side, Sicilian Newcastle queen side, and he's going to push his pawns forward.
Oh. Yeah, d5, a very quick reaction in the center of the board. Normally, that's a very good sign if you're black to get to play that move.
And I think he could have taken on d5 with his knight because the bishop on g7 was left undefended there. So still...
Opportunity missed because a lot of pieces are getting traded. And if I had to pick a game where Raonic was going to win, this wouldn't be one of the first ones that comes to mind.
No, now the queens are getting traded. Black is the better pawn structure. White is ahead on time, though. So Raonic needs to play quickly. And look at this, king to e3. All of these moves make sense. He needs to maintain the lead on the clock, but there are 30-plus seconds left for Artemiev. Too much time.
It does seem like too much time. He'll be happy to trade here.
And then get the rook to d2 now.
Yeah. Oh, this is... You're definitely not winning this unless it's on the clock. So you may as well keep trying to play quickly. And b4, b6 would be a terrible end to that game.
Yeah, self-mate. And, well, rook d4 looks good. King can come to d6 if you need. Oh, I like that move, though. The b6 pawn. Now Raonic has some chances. Rook a3 or rook b1. Okay, protects the pawn.
B1. Big fan
C5.
of that.
Okay, took that one. I feel like white should be better here, despite being a pawn down.
Yeah, I get that feeling as well, that the pawns should sort of advance like...
Oh, and he's taking the h-pawn.
5.
Taking h5. I think white's winning. Rook h1 back, and then push your c and b pawns.
Yep.
c7. King b7.
Yeah, he's got this.
Oh, rook a1, nice move, and then queen, and then the b pawn.
Oh, well, that makes it easier.
But Artemiev, I think maybe he should have played it out.
Yes, he not only should have played it out, but he should have played rook takes c8 regardless. So there's a few things that, I mean, Artemiev could maybe put this match away if he just extended the game a little longer.
Right, because this game started with about 2:20 on the clock, 2:15, which gives Raonic enough time if he's able to win this game. But that's a big
another must-win situation.
All right, and now g7 is hanging, but g2 is hanging in response. So f3 played. We've seen Artemiev play that move many times in this match, and he's just trying to play as solidly as possible, but he's down 6 seconds.
Yeah, and Sadwani knows exactly what his win conditions are here.
Yes.
He needs to play quick.
And he's trading out the pieces. A lot of people say, oh, you need to win. Why would you trade pieces? Because he's playing quickly. He knows that he can win this game on the clock, not just on the board.
Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with his position either. He's got the 2 bishops here. And he's going to try to keep them. Bishop c8, yep.
Mm-hmm. He could have taken on c4 before, but he's just making quick moves. He's like barely thinking in depth. He's just making moves based on feel.
And I really like the move g4 just in terms of the match right here from Artemiev. He can play a4, c4, lock things up.
Right, and b5, you just leave the pawns there. You do not want to see that bishop get into the game. And he plays f4. Is Artemiev playing for a win?
Yeah, I mean, I get the feeling that Artemiev doesn't really care about the situation. He's too objective.
And, well, he can play bishop d6 and trade off the dark square bishops. 97.
Yeah, 97 is just sitting there, and that is the match.
That feels like it, because there's no way that Raonic can win, especially after the trade there. No way to win the game, and in fact, you're just going to lose it.
And there we go. That should be... I think they'll still have time for one more game, but that should not impact the outcome of this match.
Yes. And well, Artemiev, he is making his way through. He seems to be a very worthy competitor. I said beforehand that I thought that he could match up against any player in the field, no matter if it's Hikaru Nakamura or Alireza Firouzja, who he will face in the next round. But Artemiev, he had moments where he struggled. So it's going to be interesting to see what he needs to fix in order to take down a heavyweight like Firouzja.
Absolutely, and that is an exciting matchup to look forward to, as we see G5 from Artemiev, the full send on the king side. And I mean, hey, when someone attacks you, Robert, obviously you're a little scared. When someone attacks you and it's Artemiev, I'm a little more scared than usual.
Yeah, Artemiev, after beating Mateusz Bartel in the game of the year, he's like, let me just send that G-pawn down and go checkmate my opponents. That was really fun the first time. Everyone seemed to love it. A Godmator made a video about it, so let's try it again.
Yeah, give it another go. Bishop hanging on H3, by the way.
Yeah, that queen on B3 is such a sneaky piece, going for the attack and the defense across the third rank. He's going to sack on G2. Yeah, you had a sense that it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got the match secured, so may as well have just a little bit of fun.
Oh, queen takes G8 was possible there. A knight D6 check.
That's a nice tactic. That's a really nice tactic.
And here knight F4, knight E2. Okay, you get, what, 2 minor pieces for a rook if you're white?
This is very reasonable.
Should be good for Raunak in this final game. Okay.
I like avoiding the exchange there. The 3 pieces I think you can utilize a lot better than, the knight and rook for black.
Yeah, they're awkward pieces. And now with pawns, pass pawn for both sides, the pass pawn for black not going anywhere, you can start playing your F pawn at some point. But I like that he's keeping his pieces together for now before deciding to push the pawn.
Yeah, the thing about this position is black can always go like knight takes F3. It's just like run the pawns and pray.
Yeah, and there goes the pawn all the way to F6. The king comes up to help, but then I can go back to E6, I guess, to defend the F8 square. What a weird position.
What a weird position.
Oh, okay, you can't take on F4.
Knight F8.
Oh, he trades? He could promote it. We're going to knight and bishop. No time for either player, though. So who's actually going to win this game? Both sides have chances.
Should be winning, but he's actually black probably wins this game in practice. A2 is not the winning move. If this was like came down to it, Robert, crunch time, I think black plays king C3 and flags there, but the match was already over.
Right. Didn't need any more victories. He has won this match 9-0, 6-0. Vladislav Artemiev moves on. And Aman, what a performance by Artemiev, because he lost game 1 and then he stormed back.
Yeah, and we've been seeing that time and time again in the matches so far. We'll see if that continues in the upcoming matches. But the higher rated, or at least the person that we have as probably the favorite, the more experienced bullet player, tends to take time to warm up. But once they get going, Robert, they don't really stop.
No, they're not. But we must stop for now. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll bring Vladislav Artemiev on for a post-match interview. You will not want to miss his thoughts.